Hello everyone, this is Juana after a quite long absence. I hope you missed my videos, and maybe for the occasion of this video it would be a good idea to reintroduce myself. I am an art history graduate and I am currently following a research master degree on Renaissance studies, and in pretty much any discussion I will ever open regarding art, I will only focus on Renaissance and early modern artists because this is the area of my expertise and I don't like to speculate regarding different matters concerned with the modern or contemporary world, and therefore I'm trying to play safe and only formulate opinions regarding what I am more entitled to. I actually wanted to make this video just after the Rijksmuseum announced the big news, but because of different personal issues I haven't had the time and quiet to do so, and I am doing this now in the last day of the Women's History Month, and I hope you will treat my discussion as part of this nice awareness context that we all participated in our different ways in the last 30 days. Now, I think it's worth discussing this matter because it opens different questions regarding how to display women in museums, how to address their absence from the long narrative of our history, and how to better situate ourselves in the future regarding these matters. And as I usually like to do with present day matters, I think it's smart to take a few steps back and look at the past 5 decades so that we understand better what is the short-term history of what has happened just now in the biggest museum in the Netherlands and one of the most important museums in the world, Rijksmuseum. Discussions regarding women in the arts have started to emerge at the same time with the women's liberation movement. And we always have to keep in our minds that whatever happens in the press or in academic circles or in cultural institutions is usually the result of years and years of activism and protest from the part of women that will eventually not have all the means to continue the fight, but that set the right conditions for the ones that are able to do so in order to open very important discussions. The fact that Linda Nochlin published her very consequential article in 1971, Why Have There Been No Great Women Artists, and the fact that in 1976 she co-curated together with Sarah Ann Sutherland an exhibition dedicated to women's 500 years of artistic production, has been possible due to the prior actions of women that went to the streets. After the second wave of feminism and these two important events, the publication of this article and the creation of this unprecedented exhibition that showed women what a long and strong art historical narrative they have behind them, things have reached a plateau, and probably the most significant event in the last decades of the 20th century has been the opening of the National Museum of Women in the Arts in Washington, D.C. in 1981. And after that, things have slowed down and museums haven't given much resources to bringing to light women artists. There have been some exhibitions, but there has certainly not been as great focus as we see now on women artists throughout the ages. The last 10 years have certainly been the most industrious in this respect, and apart from different universities opening positions to art historians specialized on women's history and women's history in the arts, Major museums have organized exhibitions dedicated to women artists, and for example, Prado in Madrid or the Uffizi in Florence, or more recently now the National Gallery in London, have organized either retrospectives or very interesting and challenging exhibitions putting women artists in context. Now, what's the alleged role of the museum? It is to educate, and now more than ever we have brought to light how different minorities have been excluded from the narrative of history and art history too, and haven't received much attention inside museums, even though academical practices have started to dedicate a lot of study to less traditional areas of research. Does that make sense? Museums are cultural and educational institutions, have the role to perpetually change the narrative and introduce the large public to different new ways of looking at same old matters. Now, the fact that Rijksmuseum has finally decided to put women in their place within the Gallery of Honor is a very welcome move, and their decision can be seen from two different perspectives. They're not that different from each other, but one is more moderate and one is more radical. Let's call it like that. The moderates could say that this is a great step in addressing the absence of women in art history, and that it is an unprecedented and laudable project, and that we should cheer the fact that the canon of early modern Dutch painting has finally been extended to also accommodate Judith Leister, Hesina Borg, and Rachel Ruiz. Rachel Ruiz, for example, has always been in the museum, and in fact her paintings are hanged in a lot of museums throughout the world, even the one in Bucharest. But let's say her paintings are not given pride of place. Another perspective, which is a bit more radical, could suggest that maybe this is only a very safe strategy on the part of the museum that keeps them at bay from criticism coming from identity politics advocates, and that it doesn't do much in actually confronting and challenging the current canon that has been excluded women from art history for the past centuries. The way I see it, this is a smart move that comes in line with how a museum works nowadays. Given the fact that most museums cannot rely only on state funding because culture is not that important in this capitalist world anymore, they rely on visitors paying tickets and different private entities sponsoring their endeavors. The fact that they have decided to first accommodate the public within the Gallery of Honor, that is the most popular venue of the museum and that attracts most visitors, with the work and personality of these three female painters, they are making sure that in the past years or months, these visitors that have already visited the permanent collection are willing to pay the price for an exhibition dedicated to these women painters. Therefore, we should pay attention to what Rijksmuseum will do in the future and make sure, as their co-sponsors, that they're addressing these issues that should be addressed and always brought into dialogue in their watch. I hope my video made sense. I am sorry for my weird use of English in general. I hope I have managed to set some ideas in motion and maybe help you think in another way regarding this matter. And I hope you will come back to my channel, and I hope you will like, subscribe, and maybe even turn on the notification button on my poor unborn channel. And see you next time. Bye!